Hello and good morning, friends. Welcome to the CEC-UGC live lecture. Dear friends, with our ongoing series on new media, today we would be talking on mapping for journalism. And for this very discussion, we have once again with us in our studios Dr. Anubhuti Yadav. Dr. Anubhuti Yadav is Associate Professor in Department of New Media and Technology, IIMC. So let's welcome Dr. Anubhuti Yadav and let's try to know more and more about and on the topic mapping for journalism. Hello, ma'am. Welcome to the EduSet lecture.
Good morning. Today we'll be discussing about mapping for journalism. We know that nowadays if we talk about the field of journalism, and especially like when we are reading any story or like when we are watching any news on any of the event, the one thing which comes to our mind is where is this event taking place. We would like to see more about that particular place. We would like to know more about that place. And this is what we are going to talk about, that mapping nowadays has become very important part of journalism. Now, mapping means that, the plotting places where the event is happening. It could be an interactive map, which means that, once you have plotted the place, you can go visit that particular map. You can click on the area which you want to explore. And this is what we are going to talk about today in this particular lecture. Mapping for journalism. This is also called Geo Journalism, which is a part of data journalism. We have discussed about data journalism in the past. So this is something which is very important part of data journalism. We can call this as a geojournalism, and this branch, which means the geojournalism, it focuses more on the data which is generated by the satellite and the sensor. And in this, what we are doing is that we are actually using certain geographical methods to explain one particular story. So this is a definition of the geojournalism and why we use mapping in the field of journalism. Now, to begin with, I would like to start with the two stories, and these stories are very popular stories, and they're award-winning stories. The one is The Spies in the Sky by BuzzFeed, and I'll take you through both the stories, and we'll see how the mapping is being used. It's not just using a one particular map or identifying a location and telling the target audience that okay, this is the place where the event is happening, but how differently the mapping is being used in this particular story. So the first story, as I said, it's The Spies in the Sky by BuzzFeed. So I'll just take you through this particular story. This story is done by BuzzFeed, and as you can see here, this is the story Spies in the Sky. And this story is about the fact that there's a lot of surveillance which is happening in America, and as the story says that the America is watched from above, which means that there are a lot of aircrafts which are hovering above America, and there is a lot of surveillance which is happening through those aircrafts. And these aircrafts are by two different organizations. One is the FBI, and another one is the Homeland Department of Homeland Security. And if you go to the map, which is something very interesting, this is the map which they have created. Now, this map has been created for one particular time frame, and as you can see, there are the red lines here in the map, and there are blue lines here in the map, and you can see, these faint red lines. Now, these red lines actually talks about, the track which the certain aircrafts they are following, and these faint airlines, they become this circle, they become very dense when one particular area is being monitored repeatedly. Right, so this is how the surveillance is happening, and which means that you can see that there are certain areas wherein there is a lot of surveillance, and if you look at the red line, it is by the FBI, and if you look at these blue lines, these are by the Department of Homeland Security. Now, if you go down to this map, and when you see the small little dots, these are this represents a one particular aircraft. When you go down to this particular story, here they're talking about the certain events which had happened or accidents which had happened, which means, the certain blast or, something of that sort. And at that point of time also they had monitored, how that particular area was, the surveillance was happening in that particular area. So they had taken, number of, such incidents which had happened in the past, and they tried to correlate with the amount of surveillance which was happening at that point of time. Another issue is, when we talk about this issue of surveillance, there has always been, a problem, and there's always been, a question from the people, from the citizen, when this sort of surveillance is happening. And there is a debate also that why is it, there's a lot of surveillance, and in fact, these aircrafts, they also have, a device which can track, the conversation which people are having on their cell phones also. So there's a lot of debate, and the people are opposing this fact that there's a lot of surveillance is happening. But both the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security, they are saying that this is happening for the nation's security. But this story actually talks about how much it is happening, how it is happening, what are the areas where it is happening more often, and how it happened whenever there are certain blasts which had happened in the past. So which means that and they have taken this data from the flighttracker.com, because that's a website which provides the live data of the airlines which are traveling from one place to another place. So they've taken the entire data from there, and they've created this particular map for the people to read. So this is the first example of mapping and how it can be used in the field of journalism. Second is from India. So we talk about the pollution a lot nowadays. We talk about the air pollution, and this story is by the India Spend, and this story actually talks about what are the most polluted areas in India. And as you can see, it depends upon the air quality index. So they have divided it into the different levels, and then the color code is there, and then they have given the possible health impacts of that particular AQI, for that particular AQI, and then they have plotted the different places where the air pollution is there. And now if you can see here the search box, and here you can select a one particular state, you can select a city, you can select a locality. You can also say that, okay, fine, I just want to have a data for the last 24 hours, or I would like to have a data for the last 15 hours. So it will give you the result according to what exactly do you want to find out. So that's the platform which has been created. Now, with one is that in itself it's a data journalism, it's in itself it's a geo journalism. But the other people, if they are doing a story on environment, if they are doing a story on pollution, they can also pick up the content from here, and they can embed that particular thing in their story. So these are the two case studies. There are a number of case studies. At the end of the lecture, I'll tell you the source from where you can see number of stories which are based on maps. And when we are saying maps, we're using different platforms to create those particular maps, different platforms as well as the different types of maps. So these are the two case studies. Now coming back to the lecture. So the first thing which comes to our mind is, why mapping in journalism? Because we've been used to, when we talk about the field of journalism, we know that, the where, which means a place where the event is happening, is very important. And we always, in a way, include, that particular thing in our story. But nowadays, the where, actually becomes, very important. One is because the technology is available, because, you can create maps and people can, visit that particular location. Say, for example, if you have Google Earth installed on it, and if you click to that particular place, you can visit that place where that event is happening, and you can see that. Also, when you are using map, it gives a feel to a story, because till now, in our story, we just used to write that, okay, this is the place where the event has taken place. But, when we are talking about any event, the place is very important, the culture, the politics of that particular place, the economy of that particular place, the climatic condition of that particular place is very important for any event which is happening in that place. So that's why the talking about place has become more important, and that's why the mapping as a concept has emerged. People would like to see the place where the event is happening. They would like to explore more. They would like to have that immersive experience. And nowadays, we're talking about, the new technologies and the new platforms which are coming up. The Periscope recently launched, the 360-degree, the videos, which means that, it's not only the one shot or two shot which a reporter decides that, okay, fine, this is what I would like my target audience to see. But instead of that, if you are using, these particular platform, people can navigate that particular place. So instead of looking at one or two shot, they can see, who all are the people who are standing at that particular place. They can visit, they can navigate, and they can visit some place which they want to explore more. So which means that the interest of people are also increasing. They want to see the place, and second is the technology is also making this possible. So now when we are talking about this mapping, one very important thing which means that the live broadcasts which are happening nowadays and the geotagging, with this we are actually generating a lot of data which is related to a place, and which means that when so much of data is being generated, there is a possibility that we can come out with a good story. But this is also a very challenging task. For example, there is a train accident which had happened in Nagpur recently. So there are a lot of people who were clicking photographs and they were uploading those particular photographs. So for a journalist, it's good that yes, they've got a lot of resources available, but at the same time, it becomes very challenging also, because then out of all those photographs, then you have to find out which one are the accurate ones. So you have to do your fact checking also. So if you talk about the definition of this, it's a powerful storytelling tool which journalists can use to take their audience on a journey following a narrative storyline, or to illustrate and make sense of fast-moving breaking news events. Now we'll come on to what are the different types of maps. We've discussed, the two case studies. We've discussed, why mapping is important in the field of journalism. Now, what are the different types of maps available? Like what kind of maps a journalist can work on? So the first type of map is a pin maps, and we also call it a points of interest map. These are the simplest of all the maps, and it is available. This feature is available with all the platforms which allows you to create maps. And this means that when we are saying pin maps, you can drop pins where the event is happening. For example, if you have Google My Map, on your phone, on your smartphone, you can always go to a particular event where the place where the event is happening, and you can drop a pin there, which means that you have identified that particular location on the map, and then you can click a lot of photographs, and you can record a video also, and later on you can edit that pin, which means that later on when the people will click on that pin, they'll be able to know about the event, because you'll be describing the event also. They'll be able to see the photographs of that particular event, and they'll be able to see the video of that particular event. Now, another thing is that when we are talking about pin maps, one is that these pins we are saying, but these are the icons. You can always change these icons, whatever you feel. If you don't want to have a pin, you can have in a form of a photograph. So that possibility is available with most of the tools, where you can change those icons. You can also change the color of that particular the pins also, depending upon what you are trying to depict. So mostly pin maps are used used to summarize data. For example, if I'm talking about the pollution in India, so what I'm going to do is that one is that, okay, fine, I have a story around that. I might have the table to explain that particular thing, but I would just like to use a map to show what are the places, maybe like top 5 cities or top 5 most polluted cities. So what I'll do is I'll just drop the pins there, and this will help me to summarize the whole story. So the people who are not interested in reading, they can go to a map, they can interact with the map, and they can get as much information they want from that particular map. So this is the first type of map, which is a pin map, and as I said, that we also call it a points of interest map. And this is the example of the pin map. This is the map which has been created for all the media educators which are there in India. So the map is still in the progress. I'm still working on this particular map. But these are the places where the lot of media educators are there. When you click on any one pin, you'll be able to know more about that particular person. If that person has some video lecture recorded, or if that person has certain images available, so that is something which you can get through this particular map. This is another map. This is also an example of pin map. Now, this pin map actually talks about the community radio stations in India. And you can see that there are different colors here. And I've given different colors to all the markers which I have dropped there on the map, and this color is according to on the basis of whether the community radio station is operational, or the interest of the license has been given to that particular station or not. So on the basis of that the different colors are given. So for example, if you are doing a story on the polluted cities in the country, so what you can do is that you can take a 5 years data. So like for the 2016 you can have different color, for 2015 you can have different color, for 2014 you can have different colors. So that possibility is there. So with this it becomes easy for the target audience to understand the map. Now this is the second map, which is called a heat map, and heat map is a way of representing data in color or heat. In heat maps, geographical locations, regions are colored differently. That reveals different levels of intensity of a data set value. And in the heat map, one can instantly see where the highest and lowest of any matter being explored by the journalist. And this is also a best way to summarize data for readers to understand. Now, this is the example of a heat map. And this is the same map which I have used in the earlier map. It was a pin map. So the community radio stations were there. So on the basis of their addresses, all those particular places were marked. And here this is a heat map. Now the heat map gives you a complete information that in which place most of the community radio stations are located. So you can see that this is the place where many community radio stations are located. This is the place where number of community radio stations are located. So this is the heat map. This is also used to summarize the data. Another one is the polygon map. Polygon map, we play with the shapes. It could be the geographical boundaries, or it could be any shape. You just want to mark one particular area, and you want to say that okay, this is something which is happening in this particular area. So that's the polygon map, and this is the example which I have taken. It's a world boundaries map, or a map representing the different natural physiology within a protected area. Then there's a bubble map. This map is similar to a point map. So there's not much difference in the sense that in the point map also, you see the pointers or the markers or bubbles there. But here the only difference is that the size of the bubble varies with the data. For example, we can take the same example of the number of community radio stations in India. So when we'll talk about the northern region, especially the area around Delhi, so there you'll have a bigger bubble, which means that that's the place where in maximum number of radio stations are there. or if you're doing a map on, as we discussed in previously, the most polluted city. So the city which is the most polluted will be represented by a bigger bubble. So this is the bubble map, and this is something which I've taken as an example. And these are the fire hotspots in US from 2002 to 2012. So the size of the bubble depends, reveals that that in one particular area there were a lot of fire instances which had happened. Then we'll come on to the chloropleth maps. This is also a polygon map, and here we work with the different geographical boundaries, different geographical regions, and these regions are represented in the different colors. For example, now I want to do a map on like the different states in India, and how many community radio stations are there in a one particular state. Right. So for that, I can create a chloropleth map, which means that by looking at that map and by looking at the shades in the different states, one can make out that okay, this particular state has maximum number of community radio stations, and this state has a minimum number of community radio stations. Now this is another example, and in this what I have done is that I have used two maps and I've merged two maps. So one map you had seen earlier, that was the point map, and I've actually merged it with the polygon map or the chloropleth map. So in the background you can see the different states, and you can also see the color is different, the shade is different. If you're talking about the green color, so they are in the different shades. So when you click on that, you'll be able to know that okay, this particular state has these number of community radio station, and this has been overlapped with the community radio stations, the specific community radio stations in our country. So this is an example of one. The one which is there in the background is the example of chloropleth map, and in the foreground we have the pin map, and I've combined these two maps to create a story. So this is all about about the different maps which are available for us to use. These are the basic maps which are available. There are a number of other maps are also available, but the lot of journalists, a lot of the newspapers or online portals, they are actually working with these particular maps. Now we'll discuss about the tools for mapping. We've discussed it is very important in the field of journalism. We've discussed what are the different types of maps which are available for us. But if we have to work on a story which requires a map, so we need to have that skill to develop, to create those maps, and to do that we need to understand different tools. We need to know about the different tools which are available for the mapping. Now, when we talk about the different tools, if you go and Google, there are hundreds of tools available, but there are certain tools which are, time tested, and they've been used by, the many media organizations. So I've picked up 4 tools for today, which I'll be sharing with you. And these tools, all these tools, the 4 tools which I have discussed, out of these 2 tools are 3 tools in fact are totally free, and the fourth one is is working on a freemium model, which means like the part of the feature of some features of that particular map is free of cost, and some features are you have to pay for that. So there are 4 tools which we'll be talking about. The one is the Google My Maps. Second one will be the Google Fusion table, which is being used very extensively by the journalists world over. Then we'll be discussing about the Baggio, and then we'll be discussing about the StoryMap. So these are the 4 tools which we will be discussing about. But when we talk about all these tools, the learning curve is different for all these tools. Some are very easy to use, but some, because they provide a lot of features, so it's the difficulty level or the learning curve is steep for that. For example, Google My Map, it's very easy for people to use, but when you move on to Google Fusion Table, it's a little difficult. And I won't say that it's difficult, but yes, it requires some time to explore this particular tool, and it requires some experience so that you feel comfortable with this particular map, or you feel comfortable when you are doing a story based on maps. So now let's come on to Google Maps. To get started, Google Maps is the easiest option. As I said, anybody can use it, and one can start by mapping schools, colleges, or the places. Initially, if you are working with the Google Map, so it's better to start with some exercise in which you are involved in. For example, you're visiting different places in a city, or you would like to plot different schools in your city, or you would like to plot different colleges in your cities. So the step one in this is that you visit Google Map, and you click on menu. In menu, you click your places. I'll show you that. For example, this is the Google Map. I've taken screenshots of everything, but I would like to show the live version of this also. But quickly I'll show you the screenshots, and I'll then take you to the live version. It's just that the working on live version is a little tricky in the sense that the internet facility has to be there, and it has to be very fast. So that's why I've taken the screenshots for you. So if you can see here, you can see the Your Places here. So when you click on Your Places, you'll reach here. So you have labeled here, saved here, visited here, and then you have maps here. You click on maps. These are some of the maps which I have created. I showed you the media educators in India. That map is here. So when you click on map, you'll reach onto this particular place. Now this is the place wherein you can make your own map. Now how to work on this map, how to create your own map, and how to explore different and use different features in this particular map, we'll be discussing about this after a short break. Okay, we were discussing about the Google Maps and how to work on Google Maps, and as you can see, this is the dashboard for the Google Map, and this is the place wherein you work when you have to create your own map. But before getting into how to work on it and what are the different features available, let's talk about the features a little bit, which means that what all we can do using this particular map. One is that map can be created by searching places with addresses and by dropping pins. That's the first thing. Map can be created by uploading or importing data, which means that not only that you have to search for the places, but you can always, import the data. For example, you have the map which you have seen for the community radio stations. I had around the data of around 250 radio stations. So the Excel file was with me, so I imported that particular data on the map. So once the pins are dropped, they can be edited by adding description, photographs and videos. Map once published can be shared on social networking websites. You can also invite collaborators to edit the map. So it's a collaborative mapping. It's not only one individual is working. It depends. If you want to work on that particular map, you can do that. But at the same time, if you really want other people also to contribute to that map, if you want, there are different people who are there at the different places, and if you're working on one particular story, so you can always invite them to collaborate on that map. They can also drop pin on that map. They can also edit, pin. They can also write a description for each pin, so which means that the collaboration is possible using this particular medium. And then the once you have created this map, one is that you can share it on the social media platform, but at the same time it provides you that embed code, which means that you can embed this particular map with your story on your website. So these are the features which are available. So now let's go to the live version of this map. As I said, you can see on the screen, the first thing is that you need to sign into your Google account. You have to go to Google Maps. So once you have gone to Google Map, this is the menu. You just have to click the menu here. And here you have to go to your places. And in your places, as you can see, the maps are here. You just have to click on maps. And this is like the place from where you can create a map. So you just have to go down and you have to click on create map. Now this is the untitled map, which means here first obviously you have to give title to your map. So let's do a story on most polluted cities, right? You can add a description, which means when people will open this particular map, this is what they'll read about this particular map. You just save this, right? Now there are two ways of plotting here. One is that you can search this place here. You have a list of places, for example, Allahabad, Patna, Kolkata, New Delhi. I mean, these are some of the polluted cities from India. So you can search from here. Also, if you have a list, you can upload list from here. So what we are going to do right now is that we are going to find these places. For example, like I would like to plot 4 places. I'll say Patna. So this is the place that has been plotted. What you have to do is you just have to add to the map. You have to click. Don't forget to click this. You have to add to the map, right? Once you have plotted this, you can edit this. For example, this is the edit button which is available for you. When you edit this, when you click on the edit button, one is you can write the description for this particular place, whatever you want to write. Right now I'm just writing Bihar. And then you can also add images or videos, which means that when people come onto this map, when they click onto this icon, it's not only that they should be able to know about one particular place, but they should also view some image, or they should be in a position to watch some video here. So from here what you can do is you can upload images and you can also upload videos. Now what I'm doing is now from Google's image search I'm taking certain images of Patna, for example, or you can take it from you can upload it from your computer also. You can take the image URL also. You can pick it up from your Google Drive also. But right now I'm taking it from the Google. Now these are some of the pictures I'm picking up. Right now I'm not fact checking, but like whenever you pick up any image from anywhere, like you need to check that particular image. So right now randomly I'm just selecting this. So this picture I have selected and I have saved this picture, right? Now I want that there should be a video also. So which means, as I said, that if you have a smartphone, nowadays you don't have to, take your cameras and to shoot and, all those, bulky equipments. If you have your smartphone, you go, you drop the pin there, you record a video, you click the photographs. When you come back, you upload, those particular photographs and videos on the pin which you had already dropped at that particular place. Now for the video also we'll do the same thing. So if you have recorded your own video, then first thing which you have to do is that you have to upload that on the YouTube, and then you can have the link here. Now here also I'll search a video, for example. So these are the video, Patna city. So I'm just picking this video, select, right, and save. So now what I have done, I have edited this pin. So if someone is going to this particular pin, so they'll be able to see the picture also, and they'll be able to see the video also. And you can add as much information you want on this particular pin. The only thing which you have to do is that you have to keep adding or the photographs or the images there. Also, if you want to change the style of the pin, as I said earlier, that you can change the color of the pin also, you can change the style of the pin also, you can upload your own icon also, so it can be done from here. So right now we are leaving it like this. So we've worked on one pin, that is the Patna, and similarly we can drop other pins. For example, we can drop Kolkata here, we can add to map. We can drop Allahabad here, and we can add to map, and we can drop New Delhi here, and we can add to map. Now these are the 4 places I have plotted, and from here also you can work on the icon, the color of the icon, but these are the 4 places which I have marked. Now if you these are the 4 places which I have worked on. Another thing which we have in this map is the layers. Right now it's a layer, it's called untitled layer. So I can give name to this. I can say that these are the 4 most polluted cities in 2016, and I'll save this. So this is one layer which I have created. You can always add layers here. Right? For example, now I want to have a 2015 data, right? And where would you take data from? You can take data from the Central Pollution Control Board. You can also take data from the Data.gov website also. So when I'm adding another layer, so I'll give name to that layer. I'll say that, okay, I'm working on 2015 data, and I'll say save, right? And then I can start working on this layer. So when I have to start working on the second layer, which means that this 2016 I've already worked on. So I'll uncheck this box, and then I'll start working on 2015. And similarly, I'll drop the pins. For example, I'll just drop a pin, Hyderabad. And now you want to differentiate, which means like when the people are looking at the map, they should be able to make out that, okay, fine, these were the most polluted cities in 2016 and these were the most polluted cities in 2015. So you need to change the color of the icon. So I'll just add to the map, and then I'll change the color of the icon, right? And then I'll add one more. Where randomly I'm doing this. So say for example, we can add Hisar, Haryana, right? So and then again I'll change the color of this thing. So these are the 2 layers which we have created. And now you just zoom in. Right now you'll be able to see only 2 cities, which means Hyderabad or Hisar, because I have unchecked the 2016. Now, if you want to see the complete date map, so you have this complete map wherein you have the 4 cities from 2016, then you have the 2 cities from 2015, and if similarly you can edit all these pins if you have those pictures and videos available with you. If you have large amount of data, as I said, you can import the Excel file here. So this is how you can drop pins and how you can upload data and you can edit pin. Now, what are the other features which are available in this? You can share this. Sharing, first is by default, all the maps are private maps. First, you have to change it to the public. You click on the public and you make this map public. Now, this is the link which is available. Now, you can share this link on Gmail, G+, Facebook and Twitter. So, these are the 4 platforms which are available for you. Also, you can invite people. As I said that you can collaborate on this map. So now you know that okay, there are number of people who are at the different places. Now what you can do is you can plot those places, but for the images and for the videos you depend on other people, because you cannot go to all those places. Whatever the data which was available on Datagov or on Central Pollution Control Board, you have plotted the places. Now you require resources which needs to be uploaded on those pins. So what you do is that you have to invite people. You can invite people to edit this map from here, or you can invite people to view this map. So we have clicked on the edit button and the done, which means it will send invitation. You just have to write the email ID of the concerned person and it will send the invitation to them, and they'll click on that invitation and they'll be in a position to edit this particular map. So this is the sharing. Another feature here is that what all you can do is, which means you can copy map, you can open a map, you can set default view. For example, whosoever opened this map, how would you like people to look at this map? So it could be like this, or it could be you can enlarge it a little bit, or it could be like this. So you can set the default view for your map. You can embed on your website. For example, this is the embed code. Wherever you are writing a story, you just have to embed this. Then you can export to KML. So if you have a Google Earth, you export it to a KML file. When you click on the KML file, you'll see this particular map on the Google Earth, and you can also print this map. And you can also preview this, which means like when it is there and when people are visiting on this map, how would they see this map? So this is the preview available. So this is how this map will look like to the people who are visiting this particular map. So when they are on Kolkata, so there this picture is there, you added one video, so the video is there. So this is how it will show. Right. So this was about the Google My Map, and there are a number of features. This is the easiest map which is available for us to work on, and if you really want to explore this concept, and if you really want to start working on mapping, I think this is the first tool you should start working with. Now we'll come on to another tool. As I said that there are a number of tools. The second tool which we have is a Google Fusion table. This is also Google's product, and it allows you to load data sets and that have geo markers, which means that if you have any Excel file and it has a location places, automatically it will identify those particular places and it will geocode those places for you. And there are a number of features of Google Fusion table. This particular tool is still in an experimental stage. but there are a lot of people who are using it because it offers a lot of features and much more features than what the Google Map is offering. You can create the point maps there, you can create heat maps there, you can create polygon maps there. So there are a number of features which are available, and you can work on the different types of maps which we had discussed using this particular tool. This is the one map which has been created using Google Fusion table. You can have a look at this map. Now this map is about the newspapers in the different languages now across the world. So you can see the English newspaper, French newspapers, and this particular map is being made using Google Fusion table. Now, I showed this particular slide to you earlier also, because this was made using Google Fusion table, which is like wherein we merged two data sets. One was like the community radio stations in a particular state, and the second one was the addresses of the community radio stations. Now, this is how I'll take you to the screenshots first, and then I'll take you to that particular tool. For this Google Fusion table, you have to go to Google Drive. You click on New. When you click on New, you will come onto this place. You just have to click on Google Fusion table. Now this is the Google Fusion table. You just have to choose a file. When you choose a file, you can have it from your computer, Google Spreadsheets, or you can create your own table. And then choose file. I've chosen that community radio stations file here. You separator character, you have to choose comma, and then the character encoding, just remember to keep it auto detect, and then the next. So now the entire table is here. Here you have to give the description of your table, which means attribute data to, because obviously if we are taking certain data, we are taking it from somewhere, so it's always good to credit those people or those websites or portal from where we are taking the data. Attribution page link, which means that one particular page wherein that particular data set was lying, and then you can write the description of that particular map, and then the finish. So once you do that, you'll reach on to this stage, and you can see, all the places are highlighted in yellow. Now, this means that, the Google Fusion table has identified these particular places, and they know that, okay, these are the geographical locations, and these are the places that needs to be geocoded. So, which means this is done, and the next stage is, then you have to click on the map, and then it will geocode for you. I'll show you only the screenshot for this, because there's the data is quite large, and it will take some time to geocode this data. And then once it is geocoded, this data is plotted here. The entire data is plotted here. And when you click on each one of these icons, you can see more information about that particular icon. And icon as in this is a one particular community radio station. If you want to change the info window, which means that if you want to change the information here, you want to add something, you want to delete something, so that is something which can be done from here. There's an So there is change feature style. From here what you can do is you can change the type of map which you are using, which means if you click here, there are a lot of options. There are options for the marker, there are options for the heat map, there are options for the polygons. So it depends on what kind of map you are working on. So now, since this particular platform offers a lot of features and it requires a lot of time to understand this particular tool, so what we are going to do is that right now I've just shown you the screenshots of this, and one basic feature of this particular tool, which means that plotting places. For others features like the heat map and for the polygon, we can have a different session and we can have a different lecture on that. Now, so this was the Google Fusion table. Another very important platform which is available for us to use is Baggio, and you just have to highlight your spreadsheet data from Excel or other software, copy and paste it into our tool. It accepts addresses, intersections, cities, states and postal codes. It is popular with a lot of media publishing outlets. Now this is the homepage of Baggio, and this Baggio works on a freemium model, which means that there are certain features which are freely available, but there is a pro account also. So if you want to explore more and if you want to add more features, you need to pay for that particular thing. Especially when it comes to mapping, it only takes data for the around 50 to 100 rows. So that's one thing which is there in this particular map. So now, as you can see, the only thing which you have to do is you have to paste your location data below to map it, which means this is the place wherein you just have to copy paste your data and you have to put it here, and then you have to click on My Map. And it gives you a lot of setting options also. For example, this is the data which I have uploaded for this community radio station. Now the validate and set options. So these are the options which are available for you, which you can edit these options. In advanced options, there is a certain very interesting feature this offers, which means that one is that enable clustering for high density markers. For example, at one particular place, there are a lot of markers. So what it does is that they represent them into a one particular, say for example, a bubble, or it cluster them together. And another thing is that it also group your data, which means that here what I have done is, if you can see, the group which I have given is like Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Karnataka, Maharashtra. So what it will do, it will group all the community radio stations according to the state. And then you can create a map like this. This is another map, but this is how the map looks like. So here it's the cluster, it's a grouping. So this is how it represents. But when you click on this, you can see the individual pins also on the map. So this is about the Baggio. Let me take you to the live version also. This is the map. And you just have to copy paste your data here. Validate option, you can see region, this thing, and you can group by. This is important. You can group by. Group by city, state. So it depends upon whatever data which is available with you. You can show the advanced option. Now this is something we can fill. You can choose the type of icon you want to use. You can also choose the map style, and which is there in the Google Fusion table also and the Google My Map also, which means that what kind of map would you like to have. So these are the various maps which are available, and you can use the map style whichever you feel is relevant to your story. And then you can click on My Map. Now, right now, if I'll click on My Map, it will create story based on the data which has already been uploaded here. Right now I'm clicking My Map, but it will take some time. Okay, fine, it's done. So I can save and continue this. This is already uploaded. I'll save and continue. The moment I save and continue, it will ask me to give title to this, description to this, and it will ask my email ID, and they'll send an email to me, and then by clicking that email I can edit this particular map. So this is about the Baggio, which is a very important tool to create maps. Now the fourth tool which we have and which we are discussing today is called StoryMap JS. It's a free application that has allowed many reporters and editors to tell creative stories with a geospatial dimension. I'll take you to this map, and this is the most interesting map. Now, this is the map which I have created. So I'll take you to the map which has already been created. If you preview this, the only thing which you have to do is you have to go to StoryMaps.js. You click there and you have to log in with your Google account. Once you log in, you'll get the prompt which is create your own map, and you can start creating your own map by adding these slides here. It's just like adding a slide. For example, if I want to add another slide, I'll just add slide here. So let's preview this map. Now this map is about the 1965 war. This is the data I've taken from the Indian Army website. So there was an article on that. So the entire data, pictures, everything is taken from there. And now see how you can navigate this particular map. So this was the first slide. The second was the Battle of Hajipur, which means you have a text also there. You have a video also. If someone wants to see video, they can click on the video and they can see the video. They can see the place where this particular place is, and then the next one, Battle of Baki. They can see the place. The map is there, and about that particular operation, the information is also available. And then you can go to the Battle of Philora. You have a picture there, and then you have a place also where it is located. And then you have the Indian Navy's contribution to this particular map, and then the naval operations in the Arabian Sea and the Defense Minister Shri. So this is the map which has been created. We have plotted places, how these places are related to each other, and then for each place we had image and we had a video and we have the information related to that particular war. Now, for example, if we have to work on that, so I'll just show you by editing this particular thing, and I'll add just one slide and show you like how we can work on this. For example, we talked about Hajipur. So this is the way we were searching on the Google map. Similarly, we have to search here. So I'm just searching for this particular place, Hajipur. Okay, it's randomly, it might not be the right place, but this is how you just need to have the address of this particular place. You can give the title. This is the place wherein you just have to give the information, whatever information you have related to that particular war or that particular area. From here you need to upload image. You have to choose file and you have to upload image. Right now I'm not doing that. You have to give credit also wherever you are taking that picture from, and you can give the caption to that image. Now since we do not have image, I cannot give the caption also. You can change the marker also. So these are the marker option. For marker, for example, you just want to have that image, that one image that defines that particular event, rather than just using a marker there. So you can click, you can select that image which you have saved in your computer, and you can use that as a icon rather than that pointer or that circles on the map. And from here you can upload those images. You can also change the background options, which means like you've seen that each and every slide of mine had certain background. So you can have a simple background, which means like you can have a simple color. Right now, say for example, I'm choosing this blue color here. Or what you can do is you can select an image and you can upload the image there. Close. So the only thing which I have done in this thing is the plot of one particular place, which might not be the right place, but just to show you how to plot a place. And then I've written some information, and then I have changed the background. So let's preview how it looks like. So this is how it looks like. right? So similarly, I mean, you have to upload the information. The only thing which you have to keep in mind is that, you know, the first slide is basically the summary of the entire story map which you have created. So here, please do not start, you know, editing, because nothing, you won't be able to edit anything here. You can only start editing from the slide 1, from where you can start adding the content. So this is about the story map. As I said, you search for story map JS on Google and you will be able to reach on to this particular platform, and this is freely available for all of you to use. So this is StoryMap, and now quickly I'll take you through the sources for geodata, which means that, you know, we're talking about the data, we're talking about, you know, the locations. So where do we get those data from? One is that you can go to the NASA's website, which is Earth Data. From there you get a lot of data. For example, you know, there is a fire information for resource management management system, which means like wherever the fire broke out, you know, across the world, you know, they have the entire data related to that. They have you know, another feature in their portal, which is the protected planets. So, you know, you have data related to that. Also, there are certain websites which you can visit if you want to explore more about mapping in journalism. One website is Institute for Justice and Journalism. Another is Global Editors Network. This is the very important website. I mean, these are the people who conduct, you know, yearly competition for, you know, the data journalism stories, and whatever the shortlisted stories and the award-winning stories based on the data is there. And here also you can find a lot of stories, lot of examples related to mapping in journalism. Another very important resource for you people to use is geojournalism.org. It has number of tools, how to work on those tools. There's a lot of information which is available here for the journalists, for the designers, for the developers. And then you have this Earth Data. This is the website. There's a lot of information which is available here. So you need to explore this particular platform also if you are really interested in geojournalism or mapping for journalism. So this is all for today. And yes, as I promised you, there are certain tools which requires a lot of time to understand. For example, Google Fusion Table, and also there are a number of tools, which means the CartoDB. I mean, that's a tool which is being used very extensively by the media organization, or the Silk. So we'll be talking about, you know, other tools later on. Thank you.
With this note, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so very much. And dear friends, keep watching us, keep writing us at info.cc@nic.in. We would be meeting again soon. Till then, take care. Goodbye. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you once again.
Thank you.